Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are in TryHackMe. This is Cybersecurity 101 Learning Path, Defensive Security Tooling module. This is CAPA, the basics. Learn to use CAPA to identify malicious capabilities. Hopefully you're all ready to learn something today. Let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 1, Introduction. One of the challenges when analyzing potentially malicious software is that we risk our machine or environment being compromised when we run it unless we have a sandbox or a completely isolated environment where we can test all we want. Generally speaking, there are two types of analysis, dynamic analysis and static analysis. This room will focus on conducting static analysis using a tool called CAPA. CAPA, or Common Analysis Platform for Artifacts, is a tool developed by FireEye Mandiant team. It is designed to identify the capabilities present in executable files like portable executables, PE, ELF, binaries, .NET modules, shellcode, and even sandbox reports. It does so by analyzing the file and applying a set of rules that describe common behaviors, allowing it to determine what the program is capable of doing, such as network communication, file manipulation, process injection, and many more. The beauty of CAPA is that it encapsulates years of reverse engineering knowledge into an automated tool, making it accessible to even to those who may not be experts in reverse engineering. This can be incredibly useful for analysts and security professionals, allowing them to quickly understand potentially malicious software's functionality without manually reverse engineering the code. This tool is particularly useful in malware analysis and threat hunting, where understanding a binary's capabilities is crucial for incident response and defensive measures. Learning objectives: explore what CAPA is, learn how to use CAPA effectively, understand common fields and results rendered by using the tool, leverage the tool to identify the program's potential activity. Prerequisites: make sure to learn about the MITRE attack, check out that room, start the machine, instructions how to do that, how to connect them to the machine, the RDP or other measures if you plan to do that. I'm using split screen. It says that note that inside the VM, we have installed CAPA so you can get a feel for running the tool and experiment further with the different command parameters. However, it takes a long time to finish using the attached VM. Hence, we have pre-processed reports such as the following. So you got cryptobot.txt, cryptobot underscore vv.txt, and then .json. And it says, and place them under the directory C users administrator desktop CAPA, which we're in right now. Almost all of these files will use in this room are in the set directory. So if you want to take a look here, let's do a dir, and you can see them in here. All right, answer questions below. I'm excited to learn more about CAPA, of course. Task number 2, tool overview, how CAPA works. And looks like we have some download task files here. In this task, we will see how to use CAPA. Running the tool is easy as 1, 2, 3. First, open a PowerShell, noting that it might take a while before the prompt appears. Next is to make sure that you are in the correct directory, which we are. Then you need to run CAPA or CAPA.exe, then point to the binary, and that's it. In a simple example, we will use the cryptbot.bin. Please note that the results of this file will be discussed throughout the succeeding task. After running the command, wait for the result, which may take several minutes. We don't intend to finish this, but rather to let you get a feel for running the tool. So we suggest that you continue the task while CAPA is running or stop the processing. There are alternative ways to proceed with the analysis of the results. See the command below. So we're going to copy and paste out of here. All right, and this machine was a little slow when I had started it up to kill it and restart it multiple times just to get it working. I'm not sure if you guys will run into that issue or not, but just let me all know. In addition to the -h command, which gives us more information about the parameters available with the tool, we will use two most used parameters, which are -v and -vv, which will give us a more detailed result. However, this will increase the processing time. We will have a discussion about the results of these options in a coming task. So look at this table here with option description and sample syntax, -h or -help. Okay, shows help about it. Okay, kappa-h, pretty much explanatory, verbose, and then -v is verbose, -vv is v verbose. So I guess very, very verbose. Kind of similar syntax to, I think, Nmap has something similar to that. Says this should be the output of the command. Please take note that results may vary. If you can run CAPA on some files, it might or might not give the same information as below. All right, so We could get the same results, could get different results based off what they just said there. But we should get something like this if it ever finishes. I'm not sure, but let's continue on with the task. And through here, you can see all kinds of stuff in here. MITRE attack information, hash information up here, architecture. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff in here. Malware category, objective, anti-behavioral analysis, static analysis, all kinds of stuff in here. So I recommend taking a quick look at this here and get familiarized with the information is presenting to you. So since we know that the processing time takes several minutes, we have pre-processed this to a file named cryptbot.txt located here in C users administrator desktop CAPA. At the same time, this has been attached to the task. Just click the download task files from the upper right side of this task. Open another PowerShell terminal and use the command get cryptbot. So let's go ahead and do that here while this is still running. It's probably not going to finish anytime soon, but let's go ahead and start up another PowerShell session here, like so. All right, so we're going to use get content, and it's going to display cryptbots.txt information. This command here is basically like using the cat command from like Linux. Loading the content to PowerShell will give you the same output from the terminal below. So that's it. We are done. But wait, what are those results? How can we interpret this? And we have some questions down here. So be sure to read through this and try to answer these questions yourself, then come back to the video. All right, and then we will continue on. And this is loading very slowly. So go ahead and try this yourself, then come back to the video once you have answered these questions or if you get lost. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Be sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, be sure to hit that notification bell. All right, so you know every time I post a new video. As you can see here, most people that view my videos, view my channel, are not subscribed. Now, if you do subscribe, it will help me get into the YouTube algorithm so that we can continue to grow our glorious community here. As always, thank you all for taking the time to watch. Have a nice day and enjoy the video. Let's take a look here. What command line option would you use if you need to check what other parameters you can use with the tool? Use the shortest format. Well, that's going to be a -H, as we learned about up above. And also, you can try it out yourself, as you can see I did here. So kappa.exe-h, or you can use --help for the long format. What command line options are used to find detailed information on the malware's capabilities? Use the shortest format. Well, that's going to be the -v for the verbose here. And the next one says, what command line option do you use to find very verbose information about the malware's capabilities? That's going to be -vv. All right, as you can see there for very verbose. And then the last one says, what PowerShell command will you use to read the content of a file? Well, if we scroll back up here, we know that we can use the get-content command to display the information in the file. So that's it for that one. Task number 3, dissecting CAPA results part 1, general information, MITRE and MAEC. As mentioned in the previous task, the results of running CAPA against cryptbot.bin will be discussed in the succeeding task. As such, we will dissect the results per block and topic. The first block contains basic information about the file. This includes the following. So you have the cryptographic algorithms such as MD5, SHA-1, etc. The analysis field tells us how CAPA performed its analysis on the file. The OS field reveals operating system information, architecture information, path where the analyzed file was located. All right, so we can see everything there as I briefly went over. MITRE attack is pretty much well-known framework out there. Okay, adversary tactics, techniques, and common knowledge framework is a comprehensive global knowledge repository that meticulously documents the tactics and techniques employed by threat actors at every stage of cyber attack. It functions as a strategic playbook, providing detailed insights into attackers' methods, from gaining initial access to maintaining a presence, escalating privileges, etc., etc. So it gives you all kinds of information about TTPs out there that adversaries will use. CAPA uses this format for the output. Note that some results may or may not contain the technique and sub-technique identifier. All right, so if you look at this table here, you can see the MITRE attack information here. So you have format, sample, and explanation. So we have attack, tactic, attack technique, technique identifier, defense evasion, obfuscated files, or information, T1027, explanation, defense evasion equals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you get the gist of it, okay? And if we scroll down a little bit more, we can see information about that here, okay? And let's continue on. And CAPA's final output, they reference the MITRE attack framework. This helps analysts or defenders map the file's behavior to the adversary's playbook, which can help narrow down the scope of the investigation during an incident. To dig deeper into this topic, you might want to check out our room for MITRE ATT&CK framework. So check out that room if you're interested, or you can just do Google and Google MITRE ATT&CK. They have a website out there that has information on that on the framework. MAEC, malware attribute enumeration and characterization, is a specialized language designed to encode and communicate complex details concerning malware. It contains an extensive range of attributes, including behaviors, artifacts, and interconnections among various instances of malware. This language functions as a standardized system for tracking and analyzing the complicated complexities of malware. All right, and this is a screenshot of what they're looking at here, so we can see similar thing here. All right, let's check out the table below to see the most commonly used MAEC values by CAPA, downloader and launcher. So we have the value here, you have the description launcher. It says exhibits the behaviors that trigger specific actions similar to malware behavior. Downloader exhibits behaviors wherein it downloads and executes other files, usually seen on more complex malware. When CAPA tags a file with a launcher MAEC value, it indicates that the file demonstrates behavior similar to, but not limited to, the following, which would be dropping additional payloads, activating persistence mechanism, connecting to C2 servers, executing specific functions. This is interesting. Some of these behaviors are also present in the malware behavior catalog, MBC, and compatibility block, which we will discuss in the next task. All right, so we can see that's its launcher, and then we can see the MBC objective stuff here. And they said that we're going to go over that in the next task. Additionally, when CAPA tags a file with a downloader MAEC value, it indicates that the file demonstrates behavior similar to, but not limited to, fetching additional payloads or resources from the internet, pulling in updates, executing secondary stages, retrieving config files. All right, now go ahead and pause the video, try to answer these questions yourself, and come back to the video, and we will continue on. Okay, let's take a look here. What is the SHA-256 hash? Okay, so if we scroll back up here to that section, we can see that it's located here. So this should be what we're looking for. So paste that in there. What is the technique identifier of obfuscated files or information? All right, so if we go down and take a look here, the technique identifier is going to be this T1027, and yeah, that should be it for that one. And then what is the sub-technique identifier for obfuscated files or information? Indicator removal from tools. So if we look over here, it's kind of hard to see a little bit, but it's going to be this one here. All right, so let's go ahead and copy this over. All right, and let's plug it in here. When CAPA tags a file with the MAEC value, it indicates that it demonstrates behavior similar to, but not limited to, activating persistence mechanisms. We know this is going to be launcher, and this next one's going to be downloader. All right, as we read through above, fetching additional payloads from the internet. So let's go back up here, talking about launcher stuff here. So it's fitting that criteria, and then downloader will fit in this criteria. All right, but not limited to, remember that. All right, so task number 4, dissecting CAPA results part 2, malware behavior catalog. In this task, we will cover the following topics. So we're going to cover MBC, objective, micro-objective, MBC behaviors, micro-behavior, and methods. Let's move on to the next block. This terminal can be also seen from task 2, where we ran CAPA tool. Click on view terminal. So we're going to be looking at this area here. All right, so let me go ahead and scroll down to that. Okay, so MBC objective. Okay, we're in the right spot, it looks like. All right, so it says we'll tackle the malware behavior catalog to better understand the block above, and the MBC, which is malware behavior catalog. MBC is designed to support various aspects of malware analysis, such as labeling, similarity analysis, and standardized reporting. Essentially, it serves as a catalog of malware objectives and behaviors. MBC can also link to attack methods and log all behaviors in code features discovered during malware analysis. It's important to note that the names of MBC behaviors may or may not match the corresponding attack technique. The information on behavior pages complements the content of attack pages. In other words, when recording malware behaviors, MBC users will reference attack, but not MBC does not duplicate attack information. The content of MBC below can be represented in 2 formats. So we have format, sample, and explanation. Format, objective, behavior, method, identifier. So a sample would be anti-static analysis, executable code, obfuscation, argument, obfuscation, and then I guess the identifier here, an explanation, anti-static analysis equals objective, executable code equals behavior, arguments, obfuscation equals method, and then the identifier. Okay, so we can see that kind of self-explanatory, or pretty straightforward, I should say. The difference between the two formats is that the first format contains additional details called method, which can also be coined as a sub-technique. All right. We must also discuss the objective, behavior, and methods to better understand this part. So objective. The objective are based on attack tactics in the context of malware behavior, though not all are included. Furthermore, MBC has anti-behavioral and anti-static analysis. These objectives are tailored for malware analysis with the use case of characterizing malware. See the table below for an explanation of each. So we have objective and explanation. Anti-behavior analysis, malware attempts to avoid detection by hindering behavioral analysis using tools like sandboxes or debuggers. Anti-static analysis, malware attempts to obstruct or add complexity to static analysis, making it more challenging for security professionals to identify and understand its malicious behaviors. And you can see the rest here. You got collection, command and control, credential access, defense evasion, etc., etc. So be sure to pause the video or go to the room and read through all this information here. Use this to answer some questions below. So view more objective. You have discovery, execution, exfiltration, impact, etc., etc. Um, micro objective. Micro objectives are associated with micro behaviors, which refer to an action or actions exhibited by potentially malicious software that isn't necessarily malicious. It may serve various objectives. Example binaries are those such as in messaging apps. However, it's important to note that these behaviors are typically abused. That's why CAPA might have flagged this behavior. So we have micro objective over here, and we have description. So process, exhibiting behaviors related to processes such as, but not limited to, creating process, setting thread context, terminating process, and checking mutex. And you can see the rest here. So it's talking about memory, communication, and data. So we can see all that over here. Okay, all this information is displayed there. So the final output of CAPA objective and micro objectives are shown only under the objective column. So we're going to talk about MBC behaviors. The column MBC behaviors contains behaviors and micro behaviors with or without its methods and identifiers. Please check the MBC summary for a list of all MBC content. So check that out if you want to learn more about this particular thing. Below is a compiled version of behaviors / micro behaviors and its identifier. All right, so another table. So be sure to review this information in here because you're probably going to reference it later on. So you have objective, behavior, identifiers, and explanation here. So anti-behavioral analysis, virtual machine detection, B0009, explanation. The malware checks to see if it is running in a virtual environment. During its system reconnaissance, the malware examines various user and system artifacts, etc., etc. Okay, so you have anti-static analysis, execution, etc., etc. We're going to talk about micro behaviors. The term low-level behaviors in malware analysis refers to actions exhibited by malware that aren't necessarily malicious and may serve various objectives. These behaviors are often documented as micro behaviors. In the malware behavior characteristics MVC analysis, examples of such low-level behaviors include the creation of TCP sockets and evaluating specific conditions within strings. It's important to note that just because a behavior is characterized as low-level does not mean it's harmless, as it may still be part of a larger malicious scheme. Another table to review here. So we got micro objective, micro behaviors, identifiers, and explanation. So memory, allocate memory, C0007. Malware frequently utilizes memory allocation as part of its strategy to unpack itself and execute its malicious activity. So pause the video, review this table here, all this information. Okay. And let's go ahead and scroll down a little bit, I guess, and view more tables. Same thing here. Talking about data, encode data, C0026, et cetera, file system stuff here. Create directory, delete file, read file, write to files. All right, so review this information. Note that in the final output of CAPA, behavior and micro behavior are shown only under the behavior column. Methods. Lastly, let's check the methods. Below are some methods included in the results from the previous sample. Methods are tied to behaviors, therefore, to fully see all methods, please refer to each specific behavior, micro behavior of interest. Same thing here, pause the video, review the table here. So we have behavior, methods or sub-technique, identifier, and explanation. So executable code obfuscation, argument obfuscation, they have the identifier here, which would be B0032.020. Explanation, simple number or strings, arguments to API calls are calculated at runtime, making analysis more difficult. All right, now that we have a good overview and understanding of the MVCs contents, we should be able to explain the result of the previous sample. Therefore, let's do a quick recap using one of the results, shall we? So we're going to use this one here, the data one. Here's the explanation of the above result. So we'll see the table, and let's take a quick look here. So we have label, value, and explanation. MVC objective data exhibiting behaviors such as, but not limited to, checking strings, compressing, decoding, and encoding. And you can see the rest there, so it's pretty much straightforward on how to read through this. Knowing this information, you may simply say that this file can use the base64 encoding scheme. So we have some more questions here. Be sure to pause the video. Let's take a look here. What serves as a catalog of malware objectives and behaviors? Well, that's going to be the malware behavior catalog, as we just read about above. What field is based on attack tactics in the context of malware behavior? That's going to be the objective field. All right, now just to make things easier, you can just, we already read through everything here. So I'm just going to use this to easily find this. But you can see malware behavior catalog will be the answer to that one. Okay. Let's go back down here, and if I can go in the right direction here, the next one says, which field is based on the attack tactics in the context of malware behavior? All right, you can also take a look at the output here, but that's going to be objective, okay? And if you want to reference that, you can see objective up here as we read through. All right, so I'm assuming all y'all had read through this already, but that is where you're going to find this information here. So yeah, essentially serves as a catalog for malware objectives and behaviors, et cetera, and you can see we're talking about objective here based on attack tactics in the context of malware behavior. All right, so we're done with that. And the next one is talking about what is the identifier for a create process, micro behavior. And we can just search for create process here. All right, so if I want to do that, create process. Okay. All right, so we can see we're talking about that here. And identifier is going to be C0017. Micro creates a process via WMI, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so let's go ahead and scroll back down here. And this is what's the behavior for identifier B009. So that's going to be virtual machine detection. And that's in one of the charts or the tables up there. So if we wanted to search for that, we can see up here where it's talking about MVC behaviors, anti-behavioral analysis, virtual machine detection. So there we go there. And it says malware can be used to obfuscate data using base64, XOR. What is this? What is the related micro behavior for this? So if you go in and search for that information, so let's just search for XOR, and there we go. So encode data, it's referenced in several different places up here, I believe. So, all right. Anyway, you get the gist of it. So if you read through all this stuff here, just reference the information to solve these, to find the answers to these down here. All right. Which micro behavior reference refers to malwares capable of initiating HTTP connections? That's going to be HTTP communication. All right. So if we want to search for that, once again, I'm going to reference the tables up above. All right. There we go. It's referenced in several different places here. And there's the main one. All right. It's malware capable of initiating HTTP communication. So there's that one. And let's go to the next task. Let me task number 5, dissecting CAPA results, part 5, namespaces. So let's see what they're talking about here. It says we will divide the discussion into two main topics, capability and namespace. In this task, we will focus on the discussion of namespace. Below you find the CAPA.exe output. Note that this can be also viewed in task 2. Click the terminal below to view this information. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. All right, so we're in this same block over here. All right, so the context of this block represented in the below format. So you have format, sample, and explanation. Capability, role name, top level namespace, sample reference, anti-VM strings, anti-analysis slash anti-VM, etc., explanation, reference anti-VM strings equal capability rule name, anti-analysis, anti-VM, VM detection, etc. Namespaces. CAPA uses namespaces to group items with the same purpose. So we have top level namespace, or TLN for short, and you have explanation over here. So anti-analysis contains a set of rules specifically designed to detect behaviors exhibited by malware to evade analysis. These behaviors include obfuscation, packing, and anti-debugging techniques. They're referencing several here, so be sure to read through all this here. There's some more information here. So view more tables, executable, host interaction, impact, internal, lib linking. There's a lot on here. Let's see how this works by checking the table below. So once again, we have TLN, namespace, rule, YAML, file, and explanation. So anti-analysis, anti-VM slash VM detection. Reference, anti-VM strings, targeting virtualbox.yaml, explanation, anti-VM, VM detection namespace contains rules to detect virtual machine VM environments. These rules focus on identifying specific strings or patterns commonly used by malware to detect VMs while running, etc., etc. Then you have obfuscation, and it talks about that here, right? It says for this, we only used anti-analysis as the TLN or top-level namespace. Under this TLN, we have grouped namespaces such as anti-VM, VM detection, and obfuscation. Each namespace has a collection of rules inside them that are also grouped together. For anti-VM, VM detection, we have rules in its config files such as the following here. So reference anti-VM strings targeting virtualbox.yaml. And then you have the second one here, VM strings targeting virtual PC.yaml. The same goes for obfuscation namespace. We have rules that are grouped such as obfuscated with .obfuscator.yaml and then obfuscated with smartassembly.yaml. Again, do note that this is still under TLN anti-analysis. Refer to the illustration below. So here it is. All right. And in addition to what was mentioned in the above table, there are still a few more namespaces under anti-analysis with corresponding rules. If you want to dig deeper, check out this link. So check out this link to learn more about this particular area. Just use this link if you are interested in the other TLN or top-level namespaces such as collection, compiler, persistence, linking, and impact. Awesome. Question time. So be sure to once again pause the video, answer the question, then come back to the video. All right, let's take a look here. Which top-level namespace contains a set of rules specifically designed to detect behaviors, including obfuscation, packing, and anti-debugging techniques exhibited by malware to evade analysis? All right, so I'm just going to Control F this, see if we can find it real quick. So evade analysis, so that's going to be anti-analysis, looks like here. So let's go ahead and copy this, scroll back down. All right, and it says, which namespace contains the rules to detect virtual machine slash VM environments? Note that this is not the TLN or top level namespace. Okay. Well, it had referenced that several times in there. So I believe that was like anti-VM or something. So let's take a look. Detect virtual. All right. Let's see if we can find it real quick. Okay. And this should be it right here. All right. So let's go ahead and copy this over. All right. Okay, it says which top-level namespace contains rules related to behaviors associated with maintaining access or persistence within a compromised system. All right, it says this namespace is focused on understanding how malware can establish and maintain a presence within a compromised environment, allowing it to persist and carry out malicious activities over an extended period. All right, so once again, we are going to use Control F to find this. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's try persistence. And let's up arrow. So there you go. Pretty much self-explanatory for this one. Persistence is what it sounds like. So let's go and plug that one in there. All right. says which namespace addresses techniques such as string encryption, code obfuscation, hacking, and anti-debugging tricks, which conceal or obscure the true purpose of the code. That sounds like obfuscation. All right, I got apparently I can't spell, so I'm just going to copy and paste. It's right in front of my face. All right, which top level namespace is a staging ground for rules that are not quite polished? Okay, so if we search on staging ground, staging, let's go up here. It says nursery. This is a staging ground that contains rules for those that are not quite polished. So this sounds like the answer to me. And we are done for that one. So let's continue on where it says proceed to um, next task for the second part of the discussion. Task 6, Dissecting CAPA Results, Part 4, Capability. In this task, we will continue the discussion from the previous task. So we're going to talk about capability. Below is a table with the capability and its related TLN, namespace, and the rules associated with the YAML file. Please have a look. So we have capability, the TLN, namespaces, rule, YAML file, and notes. So reference anti-VM strings, anti-analysis, anti-VM, reference anti-VM strings.yaml notes. To check all rules under this namespace, please click here. So check that out if you want to learn more about that particular area. But you can see here, make sure to review this information in this table once again. Same thing down here, where it's talking about base 64 string and code data using XOR. Contain a thread local storage.tls section, get common path, get common file path, create directory, delete file, all kinds of stuff here. So be sure to review all this information in these chart or these tables here. So to further explain this, let's check the first capability on the table, reference anti-VM strings. We note that the related rules in YAML format are reference anti-VM strings.yaml. This is under the namespace anti-VM VM detection, which is also under the top level namespace anti-analysis. This tells us that CAPA was able to identify that the potentially malicious software searches for VM-specific registry keys in the persistence of VM tools, other other VM-related elements by using the reference anti-VM strings.yaml rule YAML file. Malware typically does this behavior to avoid detection. This is why CAPA flagged this one. Let's have another example. Let's look at the schedule task via schedule task. We note that the related rules in the YAML format is schedule task via schedule task.yaml. This is under the namespace schedule task, which is also under the top level namespace persistence. This tells us that CAPA could identify behaviors related to scheduled tasks within the Windows operating system. It might have recognized patterns indicating that the executables registers itself as a scheduled task to maintain persistence using the rule defined in scheduled task via scheduled task.yaml. Hold on, have you noticed something? That's right. The item under capability has the same name as the YAML files under the rules with the addition of the dash character between spaces, simply because capability is the name of the rule. Now we want to take another note of some exceptions here, where the capability or rules are not located under its namespace. Let's take the capability reference cryptocurrency strings from the table above. This should be under the impact top level namespace, right? However, if we go down, go through the folders, you won't be able to find the corresponding rules. It will be located under the nursery TLN. This is the placeholder for rules that are not quite polished yet. Right, and we know that because we read about it in the previous task. Now that we have a good overview and understanding of the capability and namespace contents, we should be able to explain the sample results from the previous task. Therefore, let's do a quick recap using one of the results, shall we? So we're going to look at this one here. Capability namespace. This is going to be the reference base64 string. Here's the explanation of the above result. See the table below. So we have table, value, and explanation. Capability, reference base64 string. Malware has the capability to encode data using a base64 scheme. And the rest here is top level namespace, rule YAML, file match. So review all this information in this table. Knowing this information, you may say this file can be the base64 encoding scheme. Now we're done dissecting the rules from the sample run from the previous task. All right, so we have some questions here, so be sure to pause the video and then come back to the video once you're done, or if you get stuck, and then we will continue on. What rule YAML file was matched if the capability or rule name is check HTTP status code. So if we want to do that, you're going to use that table that we looked at above. All right, so we could use Control F to start search for this particular area, and you can see the information here. Okay, so check HTTP status code.yaml is going to be the answer for that one. It says, what is the name of the capability if the rule YAML file is this here? So reference anti-VM strings. Remember, it said something about the dashes in there. All right, so if you just take out the dashes, that should be the name of it that we're looking for here. So if you go back in here, yeah, here it is. So that's right, the item under capability has the same name as the YAML files under the rules with the additional dash character between the namespaces. All right, so that's pretty straightforward there. And the next one says, which TLN or top level namespace includes the capability or rule name for run PowerShell expression? So once again, if you do a Control F on that keyword there, they even help you out. They have the stuff highlighted or in bold. Okay, so if we go and search for it, we can see that's load code is what we're going to be looking for here, because the second column here is the TLN, I should say, not TLD, TLN. Check the conditions inside. Check for Windows Sandbox via registry.yaml file. So we're going to go to this link here on GitHub, and then it says what is the value of the API that ends with EX. So if we go and take a look here, all right, Control F again, EX, and you can scroll down here, and you see under features, it says API reg open key X. So that's the one we are looking for. All right, and task number 7, more information, more fun. So let's see what they're talking about there. Okay, so aren't you curious about what precisely within the rule was matched? Well, I am. In this task, we will seek to determine the reason for triggering the rules and conditions involved. We will use the parameter -vv or very verbose to achieve this. So we have option, description, and sample syntax. -v or -verbose, we already read about this earlier, so we know what these are and how to use them. Let's run it. So if we run it against this here, you can get more information. So this will give us more detailed results. However, this will take a lot of time. We've already processed this under the file name CryptoBox or CryptoBot VV text under here. So if we want to do that, we can use the same thing here. So we're going to use get content again to display the information like so. The other one is still running. It's still running. So this machine is very slow, or this is going to take forever. So you can see that here. I'm just going to stop it because I don't think this is going to finish by the time we get done with everything here. So anyway, so let's clear all this stuff out, paste this over, and all right, this is like lagging or something. Let me make sure I grabbed it. Okay, so Control C. All right, so all right, there we go. Wow, that is a lot. So have you opened the file? Do you have more than 3,000 lines or similar to this one? Accessing this vast amount of information using a terminal or text editor will be challenging. I wish I had said that beforehand. To analyze this result with ease, we need to do two things. First, we need to use the parameter -j and -vv and direct the result to a .json file. The command would be like this. So we have kappa.bin -j -vv, and then we're firing it off and we're sending that to a JSON file. This is once again, this will take a lot of time, similar to the previous commands we run. We have processed the information already and created a file called cryptbot-vv.json located there. So probably gonna do the same thing here. So additionally, we've attached the file to this task. Remember, you don't need to wait for the tool to finish running. We do this so that you can change or you can get a feel for running the tool and experiment with its parameters. We can start with our next step. So be sure to try this out if you're interested in that. I'm just going to look at the file itself. So once again, we can see our files here. Okay, so if we want to look at the contents of that file, we're just going to change this to a JSON. Yeah. So once again, there's a lot of information in there to go through, to sift through. All right, and my batteries are low. But anyway, let's continue on. CAPA Web Explorer. The second thing we need to do is upload the file to CAPA Explorer Web. We can either use their online version here on this link or the offline version already in the virtual machine. There is a Google Chrome browser on the desktop named CAPA Web Explorer. So let's just use the one already on the machine here. So let me get out of all this here. All right, so this appears to be it. All right, and it says alternatively, you can access this using a regular Chrome browser bookmark. Note that the local page may take up to a minute to load in the Chrome browser on the machine. Now we should have access to the home page. So once this loads, it should look like this here. We need to upload from local by clicking this button, and we are going to upload the file, this .json file, open, and now it's loaded up. It says this is much easier to read, as you can see here, a nice little fancy GUI to browse through. So let's flip back over here. So we already done this, and it says now it's time to explore this excellent addition to the tool. We'll review some capabilities and check what precisely within the tool was or rule was matched. This will give us a better idea of how the rule works. Let's go through our first example below. We know that the capability was to reference anti-VM strings targeting VMware, and the corresponding rule config file or YAML file is anti-VM strings targeting VMware.yaml. Notice the box from the image, so it's going to look something like this. Okay. Then let us show you an overview of the rule's content to focus on the features as CAPA uses the succeeding strings below to check if strings are within the analyzed file. All right, so if we go back over here, you can see that it says anti-VM strings targeting VMware. Yep, so make sure that's the right one. Yep, it's VMware. And if we go through here, we can see information about it. All right, so this is what they're talking about here. regex, VMware, and then this /I. This looks like what they're triggering on using regex. So let's go back here. And if we take a look at the rule, information, information like the name, namespace, scopes, MBC, et cetera, features here. This is or string, and it has various different strings that it's trying to match on, right? So did you see it? That's right. Under the features, the string VMware /I is being referenced by CAPA Web Explorer. Simply CAPA is saying that under this namespace, we could identify strings with the value of VMware by using the conditions within the rule and within regex. So let's have another example. We know that the capability was referenced to reference the schedule task via schedule task, and the corresponding rule was to schedule the task via sch task.yaml. Notice the text box from the image. All right, so if we go back over here to that particular area, let's minimize that. We can see in here, I can find it. Let's try to make this easier. Global search. There we go. All right, so we can click these drop downs to see information about what they're looking for here. All right, so you can see regex again, sch task.exe, etc., etc. So let's flip back over here. It says the same applies to our first example. We will show you the rules content overview, focus on the features as CAPA, use the succeeding strings, etc., etc. So we're doing the same thing here. And once again, you can see what's going to be matching on. Okay, it's kind of I think that this is straightforward from just looking at the rule. But if you want to analyze it further, you can see the same information here. You can see match, right? And this is or and then has different criteria. So if it's going to hit this criteria here, it's going to trigger that rule, right? So that's pretty much the gist of how they work, from my understanding. It says under the feature, the string schedule task I and this one here is referenced by CAPA Web Explorer. Simply CAPA is saying that under this namespace and by using the conditions within the rule and with regex, we could identify strings with a value of scheduled task or sch task and create global search box, which I just showed y'all how to easily find things in there. We could quickly examine this overwhelming information using CAPA Web Explorer compared to any text editor. Feel free to explore more. All right, so we have questions down below. Once again, go through, pause the video, and try to answer these questions yourself. Then come back to the video to continue on. Okay, so let's take a look here. Which parameter allows you to output the result of CAPA into a JSON file? Well, we know that's going to be the dash J file. Dash J is what we're looking for here. So we actually had ran that earlier. So let's go ahead and clear this out. And okay, we didn't run it, but I don't. Yeah. Anyway, so if we did a dash H here, you can find information about the particular flags or whatever inside of the optional arguments and stuff. Okay, so if we look at here, this is JSON here. Send it to JSON instead of text. And let's go back over here. What tool allows you to interactively explore CAPA results in your web browser? Well, that's going to be the CAPA web browser, as we just looked at. Which feature of this CAPA web browser or Web Explorer allows you to filter options or results? And that was the search feature, right? So global search box, I believe that's what we're looking for here. So let's go ahead and type this or copy and paste this in here. There we go. Task number 8, conclusion. In this room, we discussed how CAPA is leveraged and plays a critical role in cybersecurity by analyzing potential malicious or dangerous software and proactively searching for potential threats using static analysis. It achieves this by automating the process of detecting intricate functionalities within executable files and presenting the findings in an easily understandable format for security experts. This simplification of complex reverse engineering concepts aids in swiftly comprehending potentially harmful software, ultimately strengthening incident response and defensive strategies. This room was fantastic. Let's proceed with other rooms for continuous learning. Once again, we just did a static analysis, right? A little bit of it, we just barely scratched the surface. Dynamic analysis is when you're actually running the particular malware to see how it reacts. Now, as I said before, sometimes these malware has anti-analysis techniques, capabilities, mechanisms built into them, like the VM one. So if you're trying to run this into a VM, well, okay, well, if it detects that's the VM or sandbox environment, it's not going to run anything, or it's not going to do the malicious actions that it's supposed to be doing. Before we close out here, okay, if you're interested in learning more about malware analysis and stuff like that, you can take a look at this here, which is the course by TCM Security, so practical malware analysis and triage. Okay, arm yourself with knowledge and bring the fight to the bad guys. Learn the state of the art malware analysis and reverse engineering. This covers all kinds of stuff here, so you can go through and read this yourself. Okay, and also I have a video over it that I did. You can check out if you're interested. So student reviews. I've taken this course, I think, a couple years ago. So if you want to take a look at my review, you can take a look at this link here. Okay. Anyways, that is the end of this particular room. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe with the notification bell if you're new here, and share the video, all that good stuff. Thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. Have a nice day, and never stop learning. See you later.